Have you ever wondered why soldiers fought in big lines the way they did during the American Revolution? Or what they used rifles for, or whether they had cavalry, how they used artillery on the battlefield, or maybe just a little bit about whether they had ambushes in the 18th century? Well, warfare is an immensely complicated topic, and for all the rules and regulations that armies have attempted to put their soldiers through in order to maximize their chances for success, no plan survives contact with the enemy. This leads to all sorts of situations, and anything that could happen probably has. So what we're going to go ahead and do is look at some of the unique and some of the more ordinary situations that soldiers have found themselves in throughout the course of the Revolution. And today we're going to answer a specific question that a guest here at this museum asked me not too long ago. Did they ever fight in the camps? But first, let's set the stage. It's September 1777. The year before, the British had managed to take New York City, and now we're starting a campaign heading towards Philadelphia, the capital of the United States. Of course, at this point, the American army had been dealt blow after blow by the British army. Now, the Americans had retaliated at Trenton and Princeton, but that might as well have been ages ago. And so now the American army is between the British army and Philadelphia, trying to hold on to that territory, that capital of theirs. But now the British are getting closer and closer. On September 11th, the Americans were devastated at the defeat at Brandywine. On top of that, General Burgoyne was marching his army south from Canada, making his way towards New York, trying to cut off the New England colonies. Things weren't going well for the American army at this point. In this situation, we could all understand the need for action that the American army might have felt. And any commanders in charge would, of course, have been looking to try to find any opportunity to strike at the British. This included General Anthony Wayne of the Pennsylvania line. Now, General Anthony Wayne was instructed by Washington after the Battle of Brandywine, some days later, to start to pursue the rear guard of the British Army. Specifically, Washington sent a letter on the 18th of September to Wayne that included the line, "The cutting of the enemy baggage would be of a great matter, but take care of ambuscades. Yours sincerely." Now, Wayne himself would respond to this same letter on the 19th. He said, "On the enemy's beating the reveille, I ordered the troops under arms and began our march for their left flank. But when we arrived within half a mile of their encampment, found that they had not stirred, but lay too compact to admit of an attack with prudence. Indeed, their supineness answers every purpose of giving you time to get up. If they attempt to move, I shall attack them at all events." Clearly, Wayne knew the danger of attacking a superior force with proper sentries and guards in their camp. As a result, he waited patiently for the opportunity for the British to start their march again before hitting them in the rear. Now, following with that previous quote, Wayne then, in another letter on the 19th, followed up a conversation with Washington by saying, "I believe that he," Howe, "knows nothing of my situation, as I have taken every precaution to prevent any intelligence getting to him, at the same time keeping a watchful eye on his flank and rear." Now, clearly, Wayne knew the danger of attacking a superior force while encamped with proper sentries and the ability to respond quickly to any perceived threat. With the British Army compacted, he found the threat that the British Army could bring soldiers to bear at any moment in large numbers if he were to attack them to be too dangerous for him to attempt. And so he waited for the British Army to start the move again. And as their columns stretched out and their rear guard became thinner, he would attack them when they were least expecting it and force them into a disorderly conduct, allowing him to grab the baggage, break up the British Army in the rear, and try to get away with a little bit of damage to the British Army, slowing them down and keeping them from getting to Philadelphia quickly. However, this is where our story takes a turn. General Wayne and his men on the night of September 20th settled down in a series of brush huts they produced near the area of Paoli Tavern. And as the soldiers settled in for the evening, they kind of prepared themselves for the next morning, where they might be given an opportunity to strike the British in the rear. But the British knew exactly where they were. General Charles Gray had been dispatched with about 1,200 elite light infantry, dragoons, and riflemen on a nighttime assault to rid the British of this threat to their rear lines. With most of their weapons unloaded or without flints, the British soldiers swept into the American camps in several waves. Their infantry rushed on with the bayonet, pushed into the sentries, and then beyond them. Their assault crashed rapidly into the American camp as the Continentals hurried to present some kind of defense. The ferocity of the assault led to confusion. Many Americans simply ran into the woods, while others fought back and were cut down. Some of the American supplies were able to be evacuated before the British captured them, such as their artillery, but much of it fell into the enemy hands. British dragoons on horseback used cavalry sabers to slash their targets, while well-trained British infantry rushed into the fray with their bayonets, while confused and disoriented Americans attempted to shoot at them. When the fighting died down, the British assault was slowed to ensure that they did not completely lose cohesion. The results became obvious. There were a total of 7 British losses, 3 dead, 4 wounded. The Americans left over 50 men dead on the battlefield, and another 150 or more were wounded. About 70 or 80 men were taken prisoners as well. And the attack was a success, so much so that the ferocity of the attack sparked accusations by the Americans of a slaughter, and the battle got another nickname, the Paoli Massacre. While the fighting was without a doubt brutal, the more specific claims of uniquely awful acts by the British are hard to verify. However, it was without a doubt a horrific experience for the Americans at that battle. Many years later, a British officer who had been present for the battle commissioned a painting of that night. With this witness to describe the scene, the Italian painter managed to capture many of the details and images of the battle. So here we have a battle where an overconfident commander underestimates his enemy's intelligence on his position. He sets up camp in an area where the enemy is able to reach him quite easily or in a way that he didn't expect. And then in the middle of a nighttime raid is overwhelmed by the enemy attack and the ferocity of that attack. Throughout the course of the Revolution, many of the tactics used during this battle are going to repeat again and again. In fact, even before this battle, you saw the Battle of Trenton, where the American army manages to attack a German auxiliary section that was encamped in an area nearby and were raided in the night by the Americans, leading to a successful battle for the American army. Later on, you'll see battles like Stony Point or the battles here at Yorktown, at Redoubts 9 and 10, where soldiers are going to be sent in with their weapons unloaded, bayonets pointed at their enemy, and driving in to overtake an enemy in the middle of the night. So this is going to be something that occurs again and again throughout the war. And I hope this helps to answer the question, did they ever attack or fight in the camps? And the answer, of course, is going to be, yeah, they did occasionally. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. If you don't want to get ambushed in the night by a British light infantry section, go ahead and subscribe to our channel so you'd be notified about any new videos. Have a nice day.